too. The mics are off. Did you get that rash taken care of?
I sure did.
Okay. Just kind of worried about it.
I don't drink in the morning.
You good and comfortable?
Hi. That's good news.
I don't know what to do with my hand.
Just hold them right here.
SONOMAN Sideshow.
All right, welcome to SONOMAN Sideshow, recorded at Grim Reaper Studios, located somewhere at the base of the beautiful Blue Mountains in eastern Oregon. I'm your host, Les the Snowman Kinnear. Tonight, we have the one, the only. He's back. Brad, the bad boy Fairbank, and don't put an S on it.
No S.
No S. What is new? What's going on with you?
Whoa.
Yikes. That's a loaded question,
Yeah,
huh?
it's been a crazy week.
Has it?
Crazy
Good
week.
week or bad week?
It's just been
Or mix?
a mix, yeah.
Okay. All right. So the home life's good, though?
Yeah, everything's good.
Wife's good. She's
She's good as can be.
doesn't want to kill you.
No,
Wait. I mean,
not yet, but
right.
maybe. I don't know.
Everybody, the kids are good. Grandkids, everybody's doing all right.
Yeah, everybody seems to be doing well.
Yeah. How about the job?
Stressful.
Oh.
I'm ready to call it quits, I think.
Well, you could anytime you want.
I think I'm.
How does that feel?
I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
I'm getting closer.
You start realizing, I don't need that much money.
Yeah, it's like I always tell everybody, I'm like one away from walking
Right.
out the damn door.
Right.
But we'll see.
Well, good. All right. Well, how about hunting, fishing, stuff, your hobbies, anything? What are you doing? Anything this time of year?
It's kind of a slow part of the year. We're trying to. I went fishing with Matt a few weeks ago.
We forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt at.
Vertical Lures.
Why do I say Vertical Jigs and Lures?
Well, that's because it's what his website says.
Okay.
It's verticaljigsandlures.com. But it's actually Vertical is the name of the company. Just
Vertical.
Just Vertical.
And I'll make sure I put that on the description too.
Yeah. So yeah, this time of year it's catching the big girls, the big ones. So kind of doing some night fishing, looking for the big pre-spawn females. This is the time of year that you end up catching the state records and the big girls.
We're talking. You're on the Columbia River. What are we fishing for?
Walleye. Yeah, walleye. Yeah, they're in pre-spawn mode right now. They're getting ready to spawn. The water temperature is about 41 degrees. So 42 is probably optimal for spawning. So this time of year, a lot of people are out there fishing at night trying to pick up the big ones. Of course, they don't keep them. We all let them go. Anything like that big. The 30-inch walleye is like that's the one you're after. Anything over that's a huge bonus.
Yeah. Are they good eating?
No, you don't eat them.
You don't eat them.
No.
You just catch them. It's all for just the sport.
Well, you don't want to catch those big girls. They're full of eggs, and as soon as you catch them, and if you start killing them, then we wouldn't have any left in the river. So, the regulations say, yeah, you keep every one of them. They want them all out of the river.
Really?
But us as sportsmen, we don't want that. We want to keep them going.
Interesting. But his business is doing good?
Yeah, he's picked up he's got his guy's license now.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So he's taking people out and he's doing some fishing and I like to go along with him. If he has a fishing trip planned that he's got some customers coming in from Portland or wherever, he'll give me a call and we'll go out and try to do some pre-fishing in some areas.
And you used to have your guide license too, though.
Yeah. And it got too difficult working and trying to do that. Yeah, full time, and then working full time on the weekend, and I wasn't at home any, and
right,
got rid of that.
Right on. Okay. Well, we can jump into sports, I guess. We know what's happening this weekend. We got the Super Bowl,
Big
and
time.
we got UFC 284 So I thought maybe I would talk about the UFC 284 first, and then you could talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, because obviously I don't know that much about this current football scene, but I can tell you in UFC 284 the fight card is Islam Makhachev. I can't say any of these names right. And Alexander Volkanovski. Now, I've watched both these guys fight. They're at the top of their game. Islam is the lightweight champion. He just became champion. He's 23-1. Volkanovski, he is Volkanovski.
Yeah,
He is the featherweight champion, and he's 25-1. So I think he's coming up in weight to 155. And so but both these guys are just, man, they're like the top of the game, just incredible fighters. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And I've watched this, the co-main event is, I don't even know this guy, Yair Rodriguez. And now I have watched the other guy, Josh Emmett. He's 18-2, and this guy is incredible too. Just all these guys are incredible. And I was going to try to get a hold of Blake, but every time I do, I realize that he's in school, and then he
different
can't get
time
back to me.
zone.
Yes, different time zone. It never works out. So he's at school right now, actually, and he can't say much to us. But so that's what I got for the UFC. It's going to be a good card Saturday night. Looking forward to it. Then we got the Super Bowl Sunday, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And
been waiting 2 weeks for some football. Ready.
Yeah, you're a diehard Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Always have been,
Yep.
always will be. But here we are now. How do you see it going?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Two good teams, two good quarterbacks. I'm thinking the Chiefs in this one.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think Mahomes is back to 100%. I think he's going to do well. I just, they've been there before. They've been, they've got the experience. And it's been a while since Philadelphia's been in there, but I think with Jalen Hurts, this is his first rodeo. So, hey, I don't know. I think the Eagles got a really good team, but I think that the experience from the coaching staff for Kansas City and with Mahomes and area, I think that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor.
Right. And Mahomes, he's supposed to be the next greatest thing, right? He's already won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because he's young.
Oh, he's super young. And what he's done is at his age is pretty phenomenal. He's not, I don't think he's going to, it's going to take him a long time, but he's, on par to get, maybe Brady numbers, but he'd have to play for quite some time to get close to that. But I don't think we're going to see anybody in our lifetime that did what Brady did. So
here's what's crazy though. When I think of Brady, I think of, I remember seeing him, and I've said this before. I remember he was not starting; he was brand new, and it was Drew Bledsoe.
Yep.
And I remember when Bledsoe got benched, and they brought Brady in, or for whatever reason, I can't remember what happened, but Brady finished the year, and they did really good, and I remember Bledsoe was on the sideline.
Well, yeah, actually, I was just looking at some of those Super Bowls in the past, and Brady's first Super Bowl that he won, he didn't start that game, and Bledsoe did.
Right.
And so I don't remember what actually happened and why Bledsoe came out. I don't know if it was an injury. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I knew he came out and Brady came in, and the rest is history. And then it kind of started that dynasty ever since.
And I just remember the video, though, of this is what stuck with me was Brady all excited, and he's got Bledsoe, and he's trying to get Bledsoe pumped up. And Bledsoe ain't pumped up.
No.
Because he realizes that the torch has passed.
Yes.
That's how I remember it back then, and I remember, and so I always think back on that and think how hilarious that was.
I always pulled for Bledsoe though, because
I loved him.
He's a local guy.
Local guy.
Yeah. So I think he owns a winery over there in Walla Walla still.
I think so.
So
and I know I spent a year down in Central Oregon in Bend, and he was like a coach at one of the high schools there or something, and his house. I used to work in the appraisal business for the assessor's office, and So the first thing they did is they told me, oh, Bledsoe lives up here, and look at his pictures in his assessor's office file, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look in there, and there he is. The appraiser made sure to click
Yeah.
when they were because it was still under construction. He was
Right.
part of it, but he ended up talking to him. They purposely put that in there. I
Sure.
thought that was hilarious. Who wouldn't do that?
Right.
I don't care what your
for
job
sure.
is. I'm looking at the
Yep.
the house and then go click.
Just nonchalantly move over.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's still local though. I mean, he's still Oregon. He's a big part of this area, Central Oregon and clear over here. So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's weird how that happens, and to see, and now Brady's finishing his career.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, that we've seen that whole thing now transpire. Now we're getting old.
Right.
This is my point.
But it's cool watching, is our generation was the one who watched Brady from start to finish.
Yeah, start to finish.
And all the new kids coming in, or these younger kids are coming in and they're like, they're going to start football next year and start looking at watching football and getting into sports and go, I never got to watch Brady, or, and I was pretty fortunate with Michael Jordan because that was during my era that, he was playing all the time, and all the kids look back and, now and say, oh yeah, I think everything's compared to Michael Jordan and how great he was. And it's like, it's kind of cool that was during my prime time that I got to watch him.
Right. And Michael Jordan, like that, it's funny that comparison to LeBron now. Now LeBron, I remember, you and I talking about him when he was in high school.
Yes.
And so now he's just passed, is it Kareem or no, Wilt? Or who did he pass of all-time score in the NBA? All time.
Was it Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah.
I believe
I think
so.
he just...
it was... I don't know for sure.
I think I can't remember now. I saw the article earlier. I thought it was Kareem maybe or somebody like that. But anyways...
Maybe it was.
Now he's the all-time leader, scoring leader.
Yeah,
It's crazy in a lifetime. And now his kids are getting older,
His kids are playing basketball.
Sports is just...
Yeah. It's just kind of repeating itself.
Yeah.
And I was never a LeBron fan. I mean, I just can't follow basketball. I mean,
yeah, no,
I
don't.
used to when I was a kid. When I, back when Jordan was playing, I used to follow football or basketball all the time. I was really into it, and then I don't know what happened, but it just got to where it got almost kind of like wrestling. It just got so. It wasn't about a team. It was about one player. And then this player would, I'm going to play on this team and get a championship next year. And then move to this team to get a championship.
Everything
and it was
shrunk
as
far as
it was
time.
just like, it was all about, let's just buy a championship this year. And so they just started doing that. And in football, if you watch football, you don't have so much of that. People got contracts. They stay for 4 or 5 years. They don't move. And you've got 11 players. Right. You could have the best player on the planet. It doesn't matter. You have to have. It takes more of a team. Basketball, you got 5 guys. You got one guy that's a stud that's throwing up points and throwing stuff. And it's just like, okay, yeah, this is cool. And it just became such a circus watching it. The theatrics involved in it, and all the hoopla. I can't stomach it. I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's funny how we age and I've noticed like the things I like to eat have changed. The things that I thought was gross when I was younger, better now.
Right.
Sports. I used to really be into football and had a team. Now I can't tell you who's on the team.
Yeah.
I lost touch with those teams. I lost interest. Now I always have that. I still, but it's funny how that happens. Now my son is a big sports guy and he loves it, and that that's why I was supposed to lean on him to, now he protects me.
Right.
Which made me think of earlier, I was like thinking about that story where I had that T-shirt on that was for this gun manufacturer or something. And I mean, although I have guns, I don't know anything about guns. And Brad does. And so we're at I don't know, some sort of...
we were at a biker
rally or something.
We were pretending like we were bikers.
Yes. And music was playing and we had a couple beers and I wore this shirt that was...
pretty badass looking shirt.
It was a badass shirt. And these guys started talking to me, and here's what the funny part of the story is. I was like a deer in the headlights because I don't know what you guys are talking about. I just thought the shirt was cool, but I couldn't say it. I wanted to be And then I thought, well, just a second, and he left me. He didn't even bail me out. He just smiled. Like he couldn't hear what was going on.
I heard everything.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is where you start talking about.
I just wish I had a picture of that, because
you saw me just...
your facial expressions were just, you know, when the guy asked you about the double tap firearms, and he knew more or less what was going on with the shirt. He knew he was very familiar with the with the firearm, and then he asked you, I cannot remember what exactly he asked, but it was a pretty technical question.
Yeah. I'm like,
and you turned around and you just,
what's that?
You looked right at him, and it was just this blank look in his face, and you never said a word. You looked at him, and then you just turned back around and blew him off.
Well, you know why? Because I went into my files, and sorry about the sunlight coming through. I forgot to close the blind, but it's a beautiful sunset. We're taking in a sunset. Do you mind that? It's kind of weird.
52 degrees outside. It's February. Beautiful.
But yeah, I'm going through my files, and I realize there's nothing in the files.
Right. It's just blank.
It's blank. And so then it has a sticky note in the file.
You can see your wheels turning.
It says defer to Brad.
It was just...
And this guy turns around, just listens to the music, and I'm like, that was funny though. Yeah. Sidetrack, I know.
Yeah. I left you hanging, and I was your wingman at that point, and I let you down.
You did.
And it was my bad.
That's all right. I got over it. Not really. So did you bring any strange news this week?
You didn't bring any strange news, no.
Okay. I got a couple things to try out here.
The State of the Union speech from Biden, that's about all I got.
Oh.
That was a train wreck.
Well, he's such a cute old guy.
I should love him.
So we'll start. I only have one strange news here, and it just caught my eye. I don't know why, if I thought of you or me, but this is over in Spain. A Spanish high court backs man's right to walk naked in streets. So
interesting.
This is from Reuters in Madrid. A Spanish high court has ruled in favor of a man who was fined for walking naked through the streets of the town in the region of Valencia, where he lived. He even tried to attend court in the nude. In a statement, the high court says that they had struck, yada, 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 here just a second. So then he's 29 years old. He's filmed arriving at the courthouse. All he has on is a pair of hiking boots. And, they make him put on clothes before he can go into the building. And I think in the end of the story here, they decide that he does have the right to, they thought he was just being an exhibitionist. Like he wanted people to see him naked.
Yeah, that's weird.
No,
not at all.
It was comfortable.
Exactly. I get it.
What's wrong with that?
I do it sometimes.
Yes. So anyways, I feel like this is a justice gone wrong here, but I mean, right, maybe, because he can do it. So right. I thought that was strange. We don't need the details. It's kind of pornographic. But, and then I thought, we could do maybe just a touch base on a couple of real news things that I thought was just crazy, because it made me think of movies. Like, so that train derailment.
What?
In Ohio. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Okay. The train derails, and I swear I just watched a movie about this.
Oh, there's several movies about that.
And there's chemicals. And there's a fire.
Yep.
And they evacuate.
The whole town.
Yes.
Yep.
That just happened the other day. And I'm like, really? This is bizarre. But no zombies, nothing crazy happened. I think the people can go back now. But at first I thought, man, this is just like a movie. And then the other one was the earthquake over in Turkey and Syria.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Huge earthquake.
That was bad.
I mean, the last numbers I saw were 7,000 people have died.
Wow.
And I'm guessing in my mind, I envision, a lower economic of some of those rural neighborhoods and those buildings, and they tried to withstand a 7.8 or whatever it was.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And so many people died that, I'm thinking in our community, the county that we live in, there's 4, 5, 6 cities. There's one little city over Milton Freewater. How big is that? 7,000?
Probably.
6,500? Just like all of those guys dead. Just like that in an earthquake, It's terrible. And they're showing footage of these little kids that are huddled in some concrete because they're smashed, and they get them out. I'm like, good Lord. So, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought this stuff up. That's kind of depressing.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
maybe that's a good thing we have OSHA, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's
when
what
people bitch about OSHA.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And all our rules and
it makes kind of sense.
And they don't have any of those. They just build a hut and stick it on top of another hut.
You're right.
And then another one and another one and another one. And when they all fall down, yeah, not good.
Yeah.
7,000 people get killed.
I want to try another thing. You know how they do on shows, I'll say, on this day.
Yeah.
So I looked up on this day, so I thought we could look at that, which it's not that exciting, though. It's like, okay.
Well, it's kind of a boring day.
February
10th.
On this day in 1996, and I kind of remember this, even though I didn't care, Kasparov versus the computer chess match. So on this day in 1996, the world chess champion Garry Kasparov began a 6-round match against Deep Blue, a chess-playing computer built by IBM, in which Kasparov claimed a 4-2 victory. Later, the next year, the computer beat him because, they made a new chip.
Right.
And that was it.
Intel came in and said, we're going to
then
fix this shit.
Some of the... Here's one. Shirley Temple apparently died on this day.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
I thought she was still alive.
At 85 in 2014.
Oh,
but I mean, the rest of it, spacecraft Galileo flew past Venus.
I did see something on there about Mark Spitz. I don't know what was, if you go back.
Where was that?
Yeah, go back down. There was something about Mark Spitz. Do you remember him?
Oh, right there.
Yeah. Do you remember wasn't
he an American swimmer?
Yes, he was.
I made that up. I read that.
No,
I don't. Yeah. I do remember the name, but
that
he was born on this day in Modesto, California. Okay,
right.
And I wonder if these are birthdays too. Glenn Beck,
yep,
George Stephanopoulos, Jim Kramer. I don't know. Looks like all on this day, but I thought that was kind of cool because I've heard other programs do that. And I'm like, man, I do like that. I would like the weird stuff though, but that's all we got for today. And then I thought, what about a funny fact? What about a funny fact? And I found this website. And I thought these were hilarious. There's a bunch of them, but I'm just going to start with this one and see if there's any more. But 90% of United States money, the dollar bills, all bills, not just dollars, has cocaine on it.
Oh, absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
Still real? I mean, that's...
I mean, who hasn't? It's cocaine on a stripper's ass, I mean,
right.
I mean, that's just the thing.
That's
you do.
just normal.
It's just part of life. But I believe it. Yeah, 90%.
90% of all money.
Yeah, it sticks. It's really it's really fine and powdery, so it kind of just sticks to it.
I wonder what the percentage of money has feces on it.
Oh, a lot.
By the way, I mean hundreds and hundreds of
Not only feces, but other bodily fluids, I'm sure, is stuck on money all the time.
Somebody put in the comments, somebody texted me, and they said, I've been watching your podcast, and you talk a lot about poop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Poop?
Yeah. I'm like, what's wrong with that?
No, it's what, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I don't know. That's why I thought of that right away. I'm like, cocaine. Well, what about feces? And God only knows what else. Let's see. Hell is real. That's the name of a town. Just so I can get in some parts of Texas, it's still illegal to cuss in front of a dead person. Okay. Some people experience post-sex sadness. No?
Nope. Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, we'll just leave with this one. Uranus. Uranus.
I like it. Yep.
Was first named George.
So why did they name it to Uranus?
When William Herschel first discovered the planet in 1781, the English astronomer named it George Sirius. In other words, the George planet, in honor of King George III. Sadly, they didn't give more information about why they changed it. They left me hanging right there. I was interested.
It's kind of interesting that they went with Uranus. Where did they get Uranus at?
Yeah, like George isn't that bad.
No, maybe it had something.
But then again, Uranus. How long have we loved that name?
It's forever.
Forever.
your anus. I love
Your
it. Your
I like it
anus.
when the people that don't like to play that game say, Uranus. You know, it's like, have you read the advertisements?
Yeah.
No, I saw the advertisements. No, the advertisements.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm more sophisticated than you.
Right. Right. Or like spices like
Yeah.
cumin. You know, I've never
Look.
pronounced it cumin.
Yeah, no, we don't.
It's
I'm
not spelled that way.
There's no difference.
No. So yeah, English language is a mess.
It is.
It's weird.
Well, and I also had a couple complaints. I mean, people love pork chop. And here's what's funny, though. I cannot figure out. I think I need a new board. I'm having trouble. And every time I try to snap him off an Apple product, it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to call him instead, just his phone number.
Right.
But my phone's using the well, and I just realized I don't have his phone number. My phone's the camera.
But yeah, I was going
Well,
to say
we're
your
gonna,
phone
you know,
is the
you know
camera.
what we're gonna do? We're gonna try to get him on. We'll try to get him on.
Oh,
This will
God.
throw him because he thinks I'm calling him.
Yeah.
God, that'll be funny if he answers this. That would be great. Come on, dude. Hey, pork chop. Guess you know how I told you I was gonna call you from a phone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns out I can't. I forgot my phone. I forgot to write your phone number down, and my phone's doing the camera work. So, we're live in the show right now, and I thought I would just wing it and try and call you on Snapchat phone. Is it working?
It's working here. All good.
Hey, how's things going down there in Southeast Texas? And I got to apologize. I'd like to play your. Well, you know what? Do you care if I just go ahead and play your theme music before we get started?
I would want nothing more.
Because this is the rap song that I made for you. Now, due to technical lacking on my part, you're not going to be able to hear it. But let me just.
It's in my head, brother.
This is
In
your.
my head.
This is dedicated to Pork Chop. I wrote this a couple years ago. The second, Kevin, hold tight. Texas is his name. Pork chop. Porky chop chop. All right. Okay, Pork Chop. I got through the intro song I made for you. What's going on down in Southeast Texas? I know you guys survived a tornado recently.
Man, let me told you about that tornado.
Yeah, would you?
I've lived here, okay, I'm 51. I've lived here at least maybe 45 of those years.
Right.
I remember one tornado maybe when I was real little.
Right.
So, we don't get tornadoes here.
Right.
So, we had the storm, what do they call it, a squall?
A squall, really?
Yeah. And they're like, tornadoes possible. Boom, one hits. It's coming right at directly at where I live.
Right.
And
Do you have a basement?
I guess somehow it broke up and then reformed on the other side of me.
So it's
totally went over me.
Went over you.
Directly over me. Directly. And went right through my project where I work in Orange, about 25 miles away.
You're a bridge inspector.
Right. And you want to hear the weird part?
Yes.
2 years ago, we had a tornado do the exact same thing on the exact
No
same
way.
path.
No. That's weird. It's like you're living in a vortex.
That's what I was going to say. Vortex for sure.
I don't get it. All I know is I could go another 45 years without another tornado.
Yeah,
okay.
no doubt.
That's some wild stuff.
That is wild.
Because you don't know where it's going or what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And you got a week.
You don't have a basement.
Yeah, hurricane. No, we don't have basements here. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's wild.
All right. Well, what else? Anything else going on crazy in the area?
Yeah. Me.
Do tell.
No, man. Things are going good down here. I've missed talking to you.
Mm-hmm. You know, hey, Pork Chop, I've had several people complain online. They're like, "Where's Pork Chop?" We just couldn't link up. Man. We couldn't link up before, but you're here now.
Yeah. Right. I'm always here.
And yeah, sorry, go ahead. So, hey, now that guy I work with, he's living just outside of Houston, and he says that it's crawfish season. Is it just starting or what?
Yeah, it's just starting.
What kind of prices we talking?
I haven't seen prices yet. I mean, we're just like opening the gate right now.
Mm-hmm.
But last weekend, I saw, this weekend, I saw an ad for last weekend. They were $2 a pound.
$2 a pound. But these guys are big and juicy.
Well, how Pork Chop, can I ask?
No, not right now.
No. Hey, Pork Chop. Yeah. My co-host tonight, Brad's got a question for you.
Yeah, I was just yeah, I just want to know how do you hunt them critters? How do you get those crawdads?
Well, right down the road here, we got a place called Touch a Cajun, and they sell them.
And I think I've been there.
I place an order. I pick them up.
Yeah, I went there with you.
Right here, yeah, you sure did. Rice fields is our farm thing here around here. And so when the rice ain't growing, they flood the fields and put out traps and bait the crawfish.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But it's grown so big now, they got land. That's all they do is.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I never had experienced a real boil before. I had not done a boil. And then, what was it, 6 years ago or something like that, I drove down there to Southeast Texas to see you and see what's up. And you did a boil for me. And the experience was really fun, going and getting the critters, bringing them home, and the way you cooked them and then eating them that night was amazing. God, that was a great experience.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's what it's about. It's about the experience.
Right.
You know. And tradition, we love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. How's the music scene?
Man. It's doing okay. I mean, there's not the bands that there was, but there's still bands out there. And
well, how are you playing though? How's your music scene going?
Oh man, I've been in 2 bands. You know me, I'm a band whore.
You are.
And well, this cover band I'm in, SONOMAN, let me tell you, it is freaking awesome.
Right on.
Best band. I mean, these guys are on point. It's love them. We don't really have a name yet. I think we're going with Jam Clinic.
Jam Clinic?
Yeah.
Hey,
you know,
I got a good.
You need a music clip. Jam Clinic.
I got a good segue for you. I heard a great dad joke today. Goes like this. So I've started keeping my guitar in my car, That way,
Yeah.
I have it if there's a traffic jam.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. I heard that one. I thought it was cute. Sorry, Pork Chop. You just made me think of it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a great joke.
Well, it's nice to have you back on the show, and I'm glad to hear that the tornado missed you, and it's crawfish season, and I bet there's going to be some boils, and we're looking forward to hearing about them. So glad to have you back.
You will. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me. Brad, have a great show. I can't wait to watch it. Good to meet you. And right on, bro.
All right. Thank you, Pork Chop from Southeast Texas, calling in tonight. That was awesome. What a cool dude. Chop. 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 What's I can't.
Anything that's different about a
Oh, there we go.
regular
There we
fisherman,
go. There we go.
you
Okay,
always
all
have
right.
the
All
whole
right.
place to
I
yourself.
always do that too. I have his song on my YouTube.
Right.
I can't find it anywhere else because I
Right.
did it late night on an app that was
Sure.
free.
Those free apps
Yeah.
get you in trouble.
And-
I've got so many of those free apps going.
But I've
tried
always
all of them.
I've always kept that MP3 that I made on this free app.
Yeah.
And he and I laughed so hard when I wrote that song for him. And then several years later, now here I am, and I can still use it and just
Right.
crack up about it. But it was nice to have Pork Chop back on.
Yeah.
We're struggling here technology wise, but it worked. We could hear him, so I guess that's all that matters. But
I think last time I was on, he was talking about having a storm.
Southeast Texas, Mississippi.
He said they don't have them, and I'm thinking, yeah, don't they have tornadoes quite often? I thought,
Yeah, they
Oklahoma,
do.
Texas, yeah.
Because every year he's always worried about there's always something coming through there, and it's crazy. But they have a lot of good weather, when we don't.
Right.
And it's one of those, because he's lived in cold weather areas too, and he's like this. He doesn't like the humidity and all that stuff, but he loves the good weather,
Right. You actually get 4 seasons there. Not
Yeah,
like us.
right.
We go from fall for about 2 weeks straight into winter. And then it's
Right.
at winter till all of a sudden you look out the window and it's June and it's 95 degrees and it's just
Boom.
they're just light switch, just boom. You're dying.
That's what it's like here in Pendleton to me.
That's
It's a
it.
light switch. It'll
Yeah,
be like the
it's-
summer. Boom. It's
on us.
Yeah.
There's no seasons.
No,
It doesn't
just-
happen.
And it can go from cold to hot.
And that's what that's kind of what I miss about, living back east is, you did have springs and you had, it warmed up typically and it warmed up gradually and
Yeah,
then it was
that's
nice. And then it was, you had that spring weather for quite a while.
Right.
And then, you started getting hot around July.
Mhm.
In the past couple of years, we've been getting hot in May, and then it just goes from hot to hot as hell,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
a short amount of time. And then you're just miserable after that point.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure what we could make our main topic tonight. I know that was everything we've done here was just the first stuff. And then I thought, what can we talk about tonight? But I know one thing I forgot to mention, the new sponsor, the new fictitious, because I don't want YouTube or anybody to think I'm making money, because it's not, it's for fun. But my new sponsor, did you?
I didn't hear.
RidgeTop TV. Let's talk about my new sponsorship
Oh,
from
my goodness.
RidgeTop Television. This is your chance to plug it. I'm going to put it on my, because I've got 33 subscribers. So
Right. It's kind of about how many we have.
well, now look, last time we talked about RidgeTop, we didn't want to give away any proprietary information.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
but I just wanted to bring it up because I have a new sponsor, and you've even read my sponsorships before at the closing,
I
and
have.
I added it. RidgeTop TV.
That's good. You'll be getting probably a hat or some kind of cool.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If I can at least
merchandise.
get a hat or
Yeah. We're doing some T-shirts.
I know.
We're going to start out slow. So
yeah, slow.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So now if I have a RidgeTop TV shirt and someone asks you, what is it? You can honestly answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
6,000 channels of porn.
3,500 channels of porn cinema. And then there's live porn.
Okay.
So let's get that straight. So
Cinema.
there's live porn and then there's cinema porn. So cinemas are just movies.
Okay. With
The
a
live
plot.
porn is like watching a live TV show. It's just like watching Fox News, but there's a channel for everything you're into.
Let's go out to Trixie in L.A.
Yeah. So it's got a little bit of everything for everybody, So, yeah, mainly, I don't watch a lot of that, but, I mainly stick to movies. We just watched I just went to the movie theater 2.5 weeks ago and seen the movie Train. It's a good flick. It was good, great show. And I just looked on my app yesterday and it's there. So, I mean, it's already on our app. That movie just came out. So
is that one with Brad Pitt or? No,
it's that I can't remember. I don't know his name. I don't know stars. I don't know their names. I just know their faces. But it was a good movie. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot with it lately. And like I said, when I actually get done working, I'm going to put a lot more energy and time into it. So we haven't promoted it like we should. So
because you're both working full time.
Both working full time, and it's really hard to promote something full time, and then dealing with the customer service part of it and installation, and it's not hard. It's just everybody's system's different, and
right.
So it depends on a lot what your connections are, who's your internet provider. If you live out in the boonies, I had a customer just get on there the other day, and they tried the free trial for 3 days, and it just didn't work out because their internet connection, they lived out in the boonies and was just too slow. It wouldn't stream it. Anytime you're streaming something, it requires a lot of bandwidth, and you got to have a pretty good. And nowadays it's pretty common to have a good ISP. But some people, that live out in the willows there, they don't have that opportunity. Right. But for most people, it works pretty good. So there's a lot of stuff to see on there, like these fights. You were talking about the UFC fights. I'm gonna watch those. I won't have to pay for those. It's part of it's on the app, and I just go to the UFC pay-per-view fights, and then it'll pop up. So tomorrow night I'll be able to watch all those fights
for $20.
Yeah, for $20
instead of $79.
Yeah. So if there's it's not per fight. It's just it's just a monthly fee that anytime there's a fight.
I mean,
you get to watch
the monthly fee you pay that includes that.
It's amazing also if you look on there how many pay-per-view events there is. I mean, there's stuff you wouldn't have any idea that there are actual pay-per-view events that are available on there.
Right.
I mean, whatever you're into. It's got something for every single person. I mean, I don't,
well, thank you for the new sponsorship.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting big here.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool once it kicks off. Once I figure out that I want to do it and start promoting it full time. We didn't want to start out real big and start out small, kind of get our feet wet, and then just kind of move from there. So far, it's been pretty good, and I like it. I have it in every TV in my house and on my phone. Right. So that's the glory of that. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it in your house. It's just an app.
It's an app,
and so yeah, it works pretty good.
Nice. Well, that's cool. Well, I appreciate the sponsorship. It's crazy. I mean, $10,000 a month just to do this. But
yeah, it's worth it.
Oh God. So yeah, we never did come up with a real topic this week, but I was thinking I had a bunch of ideas, and I was trying to think what are my favorite things. So then I was like, well, what about? And I think I want to go with what are the top things you've ever wanted to do in your adult life? So, right away your mind goes to vacation. I've always wanted to see this or see that. Exactly. Even you could think about another one of my questions, how many jobs have you had since you were 18, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know where things are going. So, like, I still want to do some things. I think it would be cool to have a little coffee shop. I think it would be cool to travel to Europe. I think it would be cool to do a lot of these, you know, stuff. What's kind of your top 5?
As far as things I want to do?
Yeah. What's on the list? What's next? Because you could retire.
Right.
Obviously that doesn't mean you're going to. It just means that
can.
you could change phases
Mhm.
and go a different direction. So what's on your top 5?
You know, I just want to do something that I enjoy. Whether it makes a lot of money or not, it doesn't really matter. But doing something constructive and that takes my time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know, it's dabbling in, horticulture stuff. I've got this kind of dream that I've been thinking about doing, and I think I can pull it off, but I got to start this year. And if it's something I'm going to do down the road, but I want to do a tree nursery.
Mm.
So I can propagate a lot of stuff, and so I started doing it last year. And well, I've done it for years, but last year I kind of went heavier into it. And so I'm just propagating different, kind of like a lot of different trees. I did 5 or 6 different ones last year to see if it would work. And you know, it's a great gig because you basically have your time invested. There's not a lot of overhead, but there's a lot of people that want trees. And if you've looked at the price of trees lately,
Yep.
They're pretty expensive. And there's a lot of people that have new construction, and there's new places that want trees. And the trees that I have that I grew last year can grow like 13 feet a year. So
those hybrids.
So they grow really fast.
13.
And you know, if you got a place and you just put in a house out there in the middle, a wheat field somewhere, and you need some instant shade, I mean, this is a perfect go-to thing. Yeah. It $20 a piece, and I can pop these dudes out all year long. So I can start a bunch. I'm going to start about probably 100 of them this year, 200, and once I get them going, then next year they'll be bigger, of course, and then once I get a good inventory, so every year you just continue to do the same thing,
Right.
and then eventually you'll have a huge stock on hand that you can. My plan is to take them and deliver them to people and make orders over the internet and just kind of deliver them that way.
I like it.
Cash only. I don't want to deal with the new tax laws stuff, but so yeah, it's and you know it's good to have some type of a business, you know, that you can use for different tax write-offs and different things.
And you're interested in doing all that.
And yeah, I like doing it. And that's the thing, is I like growing stuff and growing plants. So that's one thing I'm kind of looking into doing this year. Really going into it, you know,
That's
really make it a big effort this year.
You know what, though? We've been talking about that I can remember you and I talking about how fun it would be to get a nursery, buy someone's nursery, you know, and run down one and I mean, this was like a long time ago. It's always been kind of something, but I'm the guy that wants to work there.
Right.
But I don't want to know all the shit.
Right.
I don't want to have to know all this stuff. So I'd be like, same thing with the shirt. I'd be like,
Right.
One moment, sir.
Yeah. 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 It's green.
Yeah.
It gets this tall.
I put fertilizer in and put it in the sun. That's about my technique. But
the key to that is to find your niche.
Yeah.
You know, something that nobody else is doing. So, you know, years ago I wanted to do a nursery and have a big outfit, but then, you know, all these, you know, the big companies kind of put the mom and pop shops out of business because they buy in such bulk, and there's millions of greenhouses all over the country that sell this stuff at a really cheap price to them. But you know, nobody's doing trees. I mean, like that. So, you know, there is ornamental trees in the valley. It's probably probably 70% of all the ornamental trees in the United States are grown in the valley.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they don't focus on like fast trees. You know, they focus on crab apples and you know, your dogwoods and your redwoods and your you know, all these different things. But I would focus on something that I could just push out and then, you know, sell and get rid of.
Right.
That nobody else is doing. You know, just a thought.
I like it.
It's something.
And I'm into I told my wife I'm not doing I just do like potted stuff. So I was doing potted gardens. Don't like that anymore. I said, now I'm just going to do potted trees.
Do you have one of those trees I gave you last year?
Yes. Yeah, it grew wonderfully.
How tall did that thing actually get? And it was just in a pot.
But that's what made me think I'm going to start doing potted trees because I can move them around. Yeah. And if we go anywhere, if we move, we can take them with us. You know, what do I care how long they live or, you know, I mean, long as they're just all of my potted trees, that I have a Japanese maple that's 4 years old and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I never did plant it. I just left it in the pot.
Right. Well, you look at, you know, bonsai trees, you know, they live for 100 years in a little bitty pot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, it's how you take care of them.
So I got you like my props tonight?
I do.
That's for the UFC.
Oh, I like it. And the football.
Football, that was Jack's football.
I can see the teeth marks in it.
Yeah, Jack. And I kept putting it up here so I would remember, and he would come in here and whine. Like,
right, because he's seen it.
That's mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
But I did have a couple other things. This made me laugh. So this is, I don't know, we call these cassettes.
Cassettes, yes.
Yeah. They're plastic, and there's a tape in there. And so anyways, I did have this up on my wall, but it's an old cassette. But the funny thing is it says on it, Ben Chastain's Rhythm Rascals. And then the piano and vocals on this particular song here was my grandfather. So I was thinking, and it's dated 1939, not the tape, but it's recorded of the record. And I thought, you know,
I imagine that quality is amazing.
You can barely listen to it. And you know how it sounds too. My grandpa sounds like a chipmunk. And I always say this around the house all the time, but there's this one spot where he's playing, and the leader of the band's name is Ben, right? Mm-hmm. And my grandpa's playing piano, and he's like, he does a lead, and then he's like, come in, Ben. You know, that was probably a shtick, you know?
Right.
But what made me giggle about this tonight was that, okay, that was 1939. My grandpa was a young man. He was like a lot of people, you know, playing music. I mean, everybody played music in the old days because that's all we had for entertainment. You know, they did, not us. But fast forward, my dad was a musician and played in bands. And then later in my life, I didn't grow up going, I got to play music. Right. It was just kind of a thing.
Genetics.
Yeah. 3 generations and we all played in bands. I thought that was just crazy, you know, and I didn't, you know, necessarily grow up with each, you know, my father and my grandfather where they were an everyday part of my life.
Yeah, genetics plays a huge role in what you like and don't like. I can remember, you know, when I was like 12 years old, I remember I loved fishing and I loved hunting and I loved all these things. But you know what? Nobody in my family, in my immediate family, liked to do those things. Nobody. I couldn't figure it out. It never made sense to me. Why do I have this passion to do this? Until I was about 12 years old, and I actually met my biological father. And when I met him, I remember walking up to him, and he was sitting out there on a lake bed on a lake somewhere, and he was fishing, and it was just like, wow. I know you. And, you know, he had a bass boat. He had deer mounts in his house. He had all these things. And I was like, okay, now it makes sense.
Yes.
Now everything makes sense. Yeah. But I was clueless. I mean, you know, although until I was 12 years old, I had no idea. I was like, what's wrong with me? Why do I want to do this? And I couldn't find any of my family to want to do this with me or have anything to do with it. And I was like, this is just weird to me. But then, you know, and it made sense, and it was pretty cool once I figured that out.
Yes.
But,
well, my dad and I were the same way with alcohol.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, of course. I didn't mean that. But, you know, I thought it was funny. But speaking of that, my dad, so, you know, the name of the show is called SONOMAN Sideshow. It's pronounced SONOMANs, but sometimes a lot of people, when they read it, various stages of my life, they'll think it's SONOMAN or whatever. And then I gave my son the same name, and where he's from, they call him Sono. So they say Sono, you know, somehow he made that his nickname. He's Sono. They goes by Sono, but the pronunciation is SONOMAN. And when I was a little kid, I always said I was the snowman, you know, Leslie Snowman. So that's how I got my blues stage name, because I said, well, how about snowman? And I play like my hands are frozen. So self-deprecating, you know. Right. But anyways, my dad, who was a English teacher, he read all the time, and he liked science fiction, and so he got the name from this book. And it's called...
so that's what I was wondering, where the name came from.
Yes. So, I'm not going to, he's going to write me after this and tell me I didn't tell this correctly, because...
Sure.
But the best I've put together is that, okay, so Stranger in a Strange Land is the book, and it's a science fiction novel, and essentially, well, I'll just read this part. Now this guy apparently wrote, back in the day, I think he wrote the original book of Starship Troopers. You remember that?
Yep.
The sci-fi movie?
Yep.
So he didn't do the movie. I think he just wrote a book like that.
There's some really good nude scenes in that movie too.
I think he wrote a lot of nude scenes.
Was there? There's a lot, and I remember Starship Troopers. That's the only thing I remember about that movie was there was several nude scenes in it. I don't know why, but it.
Well, I just saw somewhere in here.
I was probably 12 when I seen the movie, so
it was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, he did. He wrote Tramp Royale, Expanded Universe, I Will Fear No Evil, Starship Troopers, The Cat Who Walks Through Walls, Time Enough for Love, and The Sail Beyond the Sunset. So apparently, my dad thought this book was pretty cool, and essentially, fast forward in the future where we've already got people to Mars, and they're living there and being born there, so they're Martian, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, one of them finally, comes back to the planet. It's the first one to come back to Earth, and so it's about this guy, and he's and that's him who gets his name's Valentine Michael Smith, and he's from Mars, and he comes back to Earth, but he has these like new insights and powers, kind of, if you will, and he's considered through this descriptive once he's considered the son of man, right? So he's a Martian, but man brought him here. So my dad thought that was cool, so he called me SONOMAN. He took out, he just made it one thing.
Is that your middle name?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
SONOMAN, yeah. And
Son of Man. I like it.
My first name. So I thought I'd put that out here, I thought, let's talk about that. I can't read it. I tried. It's old science fiction is a real tough one to get through.
It is. I
just couldn't do it.
Any science fiction stuff's tough for me. I can't. I
can't. I'm a huge science fiction guy. I love science fiction, but I can't
tough.
read it. I can't read it really. I can watch a movie, and then even science fiction movies are hard to make good. Mm-hmm. It's hard. There's only a handful of them. But anyways, that's where the middle name comes from, and it's funny because even he said, "You did what? You gave your son that name?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Why not?" It was always weird for me. So Blake, and then on his gaming thing and with his posse that he runs with now, that's his nickname is Sono. But I'm cool. Like, well, it's not pronounced.
Yeah, but hey, it works.
Anyways, all right. Well, I mean, it's about time to wrap this thing up. We've went a full hour. It's been a good pod. Mm-hmm. Now I have to get the tunes ready. I appreciate you coming in.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep. It's been a good show, been a good beer, good friends, good topics.
That's what it's about.
Drink in the morning. I want to thank tonight's guest, Brad Fairbank.
That's good news.
I want to thank our sponsors, Bill Murphy Roofing, Wandering Wizard Concepts, Vertical Jigs and Lures, DCL Photography, The Shop, Diesel Fuel Filter Kits.com, RidgeTop TV, Liberty Detections, History Hunters Firearms and Antiquities, Metal by MOURA, and the JON P. Salter Foundation. All sponsors can be found online on most major social media outlets. That's a wrap. Be sure to catch the next episode. Until then, keep your nose clean if it takes both sleeves, and say nice things about me and him, because we're gone. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap.
We'll just wrap it up and get out of here.
That was good.
That was good. That was good.